new babe.
So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So listen, next video is gonna be the 15 most amazing abandoned vehicles in the world, right? So listen, the reason why I gotta keep it real with y'all, man. I keep it 1,000 with y'all all the time, right? Y'all family, but of course I'm gonna keep it real, right? So the reason why I clicked on this vehicle, man, because of the thumbnail. The thumbnail got me completely, bro. I had one of my childhood favorite vehicles in there, like it's abandoned, bro. So I gotta get to the bottom of it, and it was the Batmobile. It looked like from the original Batman with the Joker, like that one. That one, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I gotta see. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna check the video out and get right to it. Subscribe if you're new and leave your boy a like. I appreciate you. Let's go.
Not all of us can afford super awesome cars. And if you can, please buy me one.
And it might not even be in the video. They might have just got me, but I need to see.
That's why it's so weird when lavish, nice cars wind up abandoned. But it does happen. You'd think scrappy little broken cars would be dumped on the streets, but nope. Sometimes the nicest cars in the world are junked as well. If we owned any of these, you can be sure we'd never just leave it to rot. These are the most amazing abandoned vehicles in the world. Number 15. The CHATILLON car graveyard in Belgium. Is it a traffic jam that's never cleared or a scene from an apocalypse movie? No. This is a car graveyard in CHATILLON, Belgium. It features a group of the most amazing abandoned vehicles in the world.
Dit is een auto en mijn vader had vroeger zo een.
500 cars line a straight piece of road stretching for up to 300 meters. This amazing site has whole vehicles and parts ranging from an early Volkswagen Beetle to a Fiat 850 valve cover, and you can even discover the remains of a mid-1960s Citroën 2CV bench seat. This automobile graveyard, located in a well-known small forest in CHATILLON, Belgium, started to evolve soon after World War II. The cars are believed to have been left by American soldiers who were stationed in Belgium during this time. When they packed up to return to the United States, they were unable to ship the cars home, so decided to park them up neatly and leave them in the woods. Many of the cars were American-made, and all have gradually become more and more overgrown as the years progressed. The many cars left to rust have become a local curiosity after an unauthorized television company made a documentary about the cars and their history. Over the years, many of the vehicles have slowly cleaned up, removed, and crushed. Others have been scavenged by collectors. A truly intriguing sight, the graveyard can be seen faintly on Google Maps. Check it out for yourself. Like this video?
Yeah, you can rest assured all the good ones are gone by now. By the time we hearing about it, oh yeah, it's been scavenged, pillaged, everything, taking it. Like people have been up and through there like a fine-tooth comb, fam. The good stuff is gone.
Yo, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or Slenderman will come from under your bed while you're sleeping. Now, it's time for the odd topic. Those of you who have watched Batman Forever might recognize this version of the Batmobile.
Oh, I thought it was the original. This is from Batman Forever. Okay. Still Batmobile.
But what's it doing dumped in a British forest? There are two theories. The first is that this is the exact prop from the filming and that it somehow ended up dumped. But the more likely theory is that this is a replica, built by a serious Batman fan with more money than sense. All we do know for sure is that the guy who found this, Tom Williams, was able to clean it up and sell it on for a fortune to an extreme aficionado of the DC character. What a find! What would you do if you found a Batmobile? Keep it or sell it? As always,
everybody has a price. I'm sorry, no matter how much of the Batmobile I was a fan as a kid, bro, especially with the way the top pulled forward and he got in and out of it, bro, and then the way it just, the lights and the different effects of it, man, it was just everything that I wanted, bro. But even me, I got a price, bro. It can go.
Please comment down below with the hashtag odd topic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. Let's move on to the next one. Number 14. Great Train Graveyard, UYUNI, Bolivia. For those passionate about trains, a visit to this locomotive cemetery should definitely be on the bucket list. This cemetery is filled to the brim with that many trains, it seems like almost everyone in South America was moved here. They now reside in their new home 3 kilometers out of the UYUNI train station in Bolivia. These dead and deserted trains have literally been left to wreck and ruin. The hollowed out bodies are peppered with rust, becoming more brittle under the heat of the sun. If they had been abandoned anywhere else in the world, they may have had a better chance of remaining intact. But unfortunately, the salt windows that blow over these abandoned beasts has meant they quickly erode. It's certainly a very solemn situation, particularly for the train enthusiast who must look at them with despair. With over 100 unique trains resting in the area, many dating back to early 20th century Britain, there is a lot of waste here. These blank canvases sit unattended and have sadly become prone to vandalism and graffiti. Number 13. SS Ayrfield Shipwreck, Sydney, Australia. This shipwreck looks like an abandoned floating island. The 102-year-old SS Ayrfield is one of the largest vehicles left to slowly decompose in Sydney, Australia. The locals consider the abandoned ship a floating forest, and it pretty much is. Standing upright in the water, corroding and growing all types of foliage, the ship looks like an unusual plant.
My pops who love to fish, right? He'd be looking at it like, ooh, I bet there's some fish up in there. They hiding right up under that boat. We got to get next to the boat. Move the boat next to the boat. We got to get up under there, man. You see that right up in there? He'd be all up in there right there, man. I'm telling you.
Easily hidden by trees sprouting from inside and around the hull, it was only rediscovered in the past decade. Since then, it has become a tourist site and is free to visit. Formerly known as the Coramal, the steam collier ship weighs in at 1,140 ton. It is believed to have run between Newcastle and Sydney during the 20th century, before being reassigned as a transport ship during World War II. Throughout the war, the Coramal would transport Australian soldiers from home to the battleground. Constructed in the United Kingdom in 1911, the ship was decommissioned and set to be dismantled. Unfortunately, this work came to a grinding halt, and the huge ship was left standing upright where it still resides today. Number 12. Bagger 258, the Blue Wonder. Abandoned in 2002, the Bagger 258 is a huge bucket-wheeled excavator. Literally a factory on wheels, the Bagger has a length of 171.5 meters, a height of 50 meters, and weighs a whopping 3,850 ton. The excavator was built by the heavy machinery company Lauchhammer and looks and drives very much like an army tank, moving just 6 meters per minute. This fact alone gives you a pretty clear picture of just how big and how much energy this vehicle takes to get going. The Bagger 258 was first put into action in 1964 in East Germany. It was one of a series of machines that was constructed to aid in intensive mining operations. It was mainly used to dig for materials like coal, with 10 blades making light work of any excavation job. The blades were so huge that they could cut into the Earth's crust to a depth of 15 meters in one movement. But that's not all. The Bagger's buckets are designed to move a mass amount of 1,500 square meters at one time. That is one massive bucket. When the Bagger started showing its age, it was abandoned. The cost of transportation or dismantling it was too high, so it was incorporated into a...
Bro, they couldn't even afford to move this thing. Good God. Fam. Just like, we're done. Right here looks good. I'm out. Like, fam, what? Like, they don't even try to break it down piece by piece. I understand it'll take a long time, but at least something, bro. They just stopped and moved.
Solar park in an area that had been replanted and redeveloped. It is now considered the largest machine ever to have been abandoned in the world. Check it out for yourself. It is a truly impressive sight. Number 11. 1947 Frankenstein Buick Hearse. This fabulous old hearse has been left to die in a field in Greece. Abandoned by its previous owners, it's just rusting away. Built and manufactured in Michigan, the 1947 Buick Roadmaster estate wagon was shipped overseas. When it reached its destination, the car was converted into a hearse and given a new purpose. The conversion was basic and only required the rear passenger seats to be removed and replaced with a casket-holding section. The exterior was also revamped with a number of broad windows to give onlookers a view of what the Buick was carrying. This specific car was given the term Frankenstein due to its tail fins from a 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air being attached to it. With its golden angels sitting above the rear hatch and metal trims, this car is a sight to behold. Thankfully, the Buick has now been saved from its graveyard and is now being restored. A Mercedes-Benz engine has been fitted, 1956 Chevrolet taillights and bumper attached, and it is currently available for purchase. Although more of a hybrid than the original, the Buick Roadmaster 8 has plenty of history and can be shipped worldwide. Number 10. MS World Discoverer.
I wouldn't mind owning one. I don't think I'd never want to like drive it though. I just want it on display. You know what I'm saying? Have somebody show up to the crib, keep it clean, keep it dusted, all that type of stuff. Wash, wax, polished, all that good stuff. I just don't think I could ever see myself. I would look weird, but I would want one to have though. That's just weird, I know.
Most ships have a story to tell, particularly when stripped down to their core and effectively abandoned. There's nothing quite like the intricate design and thoughts of how it lived its past life. MS World Discoverer is exactly that, an amazing abandoned vehicle. It was once a luxury cruise ship designed for and built by Unterwasser in Germany in 1974. Wow. This famous cruise ship has its own unique story to tell, up until the point where it began to take on water. The MS World Discoverer is now a giant wreck, floating peacefully above the waters of Roderick Bay in the Nigella Islands. The ship was owned and operated by Denmark's BEWA Cruises and set sail on the seas in 1974. 2 years later, it was acquired by Adventure Cruises Incorporated, who renamed it MS World Discoverer. Under its new ownership, the ship enjoyed many adventures to different territories, including Antarctica, Chile, and Argentina. Then, on April 30th, 2000, a distress signal spelled the end for the stricken ship. It had hit a large unmapped reef in the Sandfly Passage, Solomon Islands. The ship turned onto a 20-degree angle when grounded on the reef, causing a vacuum to avoid sinking. After striking the reef, an underwater survey took place, the ship was declared a constructive loss, and because there were no apparent leaks or pollutant spills, the ship was left on the site. This interesting example of maritime history can still be visited today. Number 9. USS LING submarine, Hackensack, New Jersey.
Like, isn't that like a form of littering or something like that? Like, how do we get in trouble? We toss something out there. They leave a whole ship abandoned, bro. Like, how is that possible? I don't even see how you should be able to be allowed to do that, man.
The USS LING is a World War II era submarine that is literally stuck in the mud in New Jersey. This United States Navy Belau-class submarine is considered an amazing abandoned vehicle. Hackensack River, New Jersey is the place that the USS LING calls home after it birthed in 1972. Many of the locals want this 312-foot, 2,500-ton eyesore moved. but unfortunately that is no easy feat. This submarine is the last high-speed Second World War machine remaining. It had a very short sea life and quickly became a training vessel for the Brooklyn Navy Yard. In the early 70s, the New Jersey...
Y'all thinking what I'm thinking? Like that part of the movie on Battleship when they got the old joints? Huh? Y'all thinking what I'm thinking? No? Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Jersey Naval Museum birthed and restored the USS LING for tours. This was considered a must-see attraction in the area, bringing many tourists to the New Jersey Naval Museum. However, in 2012, the submarine was badly damaged by Hurricane Sandy. It had to be moved and is now permanently closed. The cost of yet another repair was considered too high, as the U.S. Navy, along with the state of New Jersey, saw it was the museum's responsibility. What a shame that this piece of history remains abandoned and people can no longer enjoy its structure and beauty. Number 8. Mountains of abandoned bikes in China. When the new fad is electronic bikes or bike sharing, as it was in China, then many corporations see dollar signs blinking in their eyes. Bike sharing in China has hit its peak supply, as there are now thousands of abandoned shared bikes piling up in Shanghai. These bicycle graveyards are
Now I know where all the stolen bikes went that we used to have and get stolen where I'm from, bro. I know where they went.
Considered one of the most amazing abandoned vehicle sites in the world. In the peak of bike sharing, dozens of bike share companies flooded the cities and streets with millions of brightly colored rental bicycles. These bicycles were able to be rented for short periods of time and left on the street when finished with. This made it extremely easy and fast.
I don't even think it's that many people who know how to ride bikes in the world. Like, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that don't know how to ride a bike, man. Check the comment section. There's probably somebody typing right now, I never learned how to ride a bike. Seriously.
To get from one end of the city to the other. The government has now removed these bikes from the streets and is storing them in what can only be considered a bicycle graveyard. The bicycles were collected as they were now considered illegally parked. In some cases, they have been refurbished and distributed to smaller neighboring towns. Some bicycles have been recycled and gifted to those in need, but some have suggested crushing them. Unfortunately, the problem is now so large that it will take an incredibly long time for the bicycle graveyards to diminish. It's a shame this wasn't thought of when the bike sharing idea was first suggested, don't you think? Number 7. SS America Star. The SS American, or SS American Star, was once a fabulous cruise liner in the United States. It was designed by naval architect William Francis Gibbs and built for the United States lines. The ship commenced her maiden voyage in August 1940, just before it was called up to assist transporting soldiers during World War II. Over its 54-year lifespan, it traveled under many names, but was last known as the American Star when it was shipwrecked on January 18, 1994. The ship ran aground on Fuerteventura. Many attempts were made to try and save the ship, but with tow ropes snapping and the ship becoming hazardous, rescue plans were abandoned, and so too was the ship. Ship staff were helicoptered off the boat and it was left adrift. With nature taking its toll, the ship was pushed further onto the sandbar. The pounding surf eventually broke it in two just 48 hours after grounding. The ship was declared a loss on the 6th of July 1994. The 105-meter stern section then collapsed completely and sunk in 1996, while the 116-meter bow section remained intact. By the end of October 2006, the ship had corroded and the wreck had almost completely collapsed onto its port side. By April of the following year, the starboard side had collapsed. Eventually, the entire wreck had caved in. By 2013, the only thing that could be seen was the bow and keel of the vessel during low tide. The pounding waves and extreme weather conditions have taken care of the rest. Number 6. KAUFDORF Car Graveyard, Switzerland. The tiny Swiss town of Kaufdorf, with a population of just over 1,000 people, could be forgotten if it weren't for their unusual claim to fame. Kaufdorf is also the home of a car graveyard. Now, that fact alone might not sound all that exciting, but the number of cars that now reside there does. There are more cars abandoned in the graveyard than there are people living in the area. This man-made junkyard was owned and operated by resident Mr. Walter Messerly. In 1933, he began collecting rundown cars in the hope that he could make a bit of money on them when scrapping them for parts. His intention was to scrap the entire car, but after beginning the process, he decided to keep a little something from each car as a memento. Unfortunately, that little something took on a life of its own, and Mr. Messerly ended up keeping the shells of the gutted cars. He preserved these abandoned car shells, hiding them away in his vast and overgrown land until they became a literal graveyard. Number 5. Russian Navy Diesel Submarine. This abandoned vehicle is the largest diesel submarine ever serviced by the Russian Navy. Built as a part of the Tango class, the Sub B-307 submarine was ideal for ambush operations and was used against Western nuclear submarines at natural choke points. This submarine had a rubber coating around its hull, giving it the nickname Rubber. It measured 91 meters in length and could reach speeds of 16 knots whilst fully submerged. They weighed upwards of 3,800 tons and could carry 62 men on board. After the Baltic Fleet removed submarine B-307, they breached it on land, expecting it to be scrapped in Kronstadt. At the time, it became a fascinating attraction, bringing people from near and far to view it. There were even some Russian comedies set around it. During its time on land, one winter snow fell and carried the submarine offshore. 2 tugboats spent the next few hours trying to retrieve it. Unfortunately, they got stuck in the ice. So the submarine was brought back to land and propped up. Since then, it has been unable to escape back into the water again, so it sits abandoned. Number 4. Beriev BE-6 Seaplane. 123 Beriev BE-6 seaplanes were constructed by the Soviet Beriev OKB. These planes could accomplish a vast array of missions with very little effort or resource. They were taken on assignments that involved long-ranging maritime reconnaissance, coastal and supply line patrols, bombing strikes, mine laying, and transport operations. Sea or sky, these wee beauties could be taken just about anywhere. But no matter how useful, there's always at least one that is left abandoned when no longer required. This one is located in the city of Mirny, Ukraine, and it has been converted into a monument. Frozen in time and left to sit, the seaplane was considered abandoned before it was converted. Let's hope the original owner doesn't come back and find it in its new state. Now that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Number 3. Sunken Curtiss C-46 Commando. Falling from the sky and landing underwater, this next abandoned vehicle would have been very difficult to salvage. Situated just off Norman's Cay, a small island off the coast of the Bahamas, lies a corroded Curtiss C-46 Commando.
I was just about to say, I know this is like a tourist dream, especially for like scuba divers who like that sort of thing, to go down there and just explore. Man. And then on the flip side, you better be careful what you run across in there. Something might be just chilling up in there. You come in there invading its spot. Whew. Imagine what type of beast you might find in there, bro. Crazy. Yeah, you saw the fish come out of there, right? Yeah, something in there.
Small twin-engine transport craft was utilized by the United States Army Air Forces as a transport aircraft. Its construction was based on the design of the Curtiss CW-20 aircraft, with its pressurized high-altitude design. Early press reports gave this aircraft the unique name Condor 3. These planes were repurposed by drug cartels and Pablo Escobar to transport cocaine around America. Between 1978 and 1982, one of the smugglers was flying a load of cocaine to its intended destination, but due to the extra weight, the plane prematurely lost fuel. fuel. This caused it to begin descending, ultimately landing in the ocean.
So one question, where's the cargo? Who got the cargo? Somebody got the cargo, bro.
Just before the airstrip. The wreckage now serves as an anchorage point for various fishing boats in the area. Number 2. Sherman Tank Graveyard, SS Empire Heritage. We've heard about sunken ships and planes, but this amazing abandoned vehicle is none other than a tank. Scattered along the seabed, 20 meters out from Malin Head in Donegal, are several World War II-era Sherman tanks. Some lie at a depth of up to 65 meters. They're believed to have been there since September 8, 1944, when they were randomly dumped into the sea. Some say they appear to have been dropped from a great height, as pieces of them litter the sea floor, as if they were broken up on impact. Laying upside down on their sides, or as designed on their tracks, the tanks and their history were said to be the target of a torpedo. The US-made Sherman tanks and half-tracks were being delivered by an American carrier, the SS Empire Heritage, when it was attacked. A German U-boat is believed to have sent a torpedo to destroy the carrier. The mission was successful, and the resulting explosion killed the 113 people on board the carrier. The attack happened so quickly that the boat staff didn't even have enough time to issue a complete distress call. In addition to the loss of human life, a significant amount of cargo was lost to the sea that day. Number 1. USS Oriskany. The USS Oriskany spent a very long time in service before it found its resting place, an artificial reef. Over its lifetime, the ship was constantly redesigned and updated, having its aerial technology improved over the many years it was used. After redevelopment, it was able to accommodate new planes. The main deck was reinforced, and new hydraulic catapults and elevators were installed. With these modifications, ship designers also had to improve the hull to keep it buoyant and stable as it moved through the water. The last thing they would have wanted was for a plane to roll off of the side. Could you imagine? Named after a battle in the American Revolutionary War, the USS Oriskany had a unique history and no doubt plenty of tales to tell.
Powerful currents surge around the ship and even the topmost portion of the wreck.
The ship was launched in 1946 as a carrier. Until the 1970s, it drifted through the Pacific Ocean, winning 2 battle stars for its service in the Korean War and 5 battle stars for its service in the Vietnam War. When it was no longer required, the USS Oriskany was sunk just off the coast of Florida under carefully controlled conditions. The abandoned ship is now a wreck on the ocean floor of one of the best diving sites in the world and can be visited by keen divers any day of the week. Whether they were built to admire, transport people on the road, the sea, or the air, most vehicles had a purpose at one point in their lives. But once they get old, they tend to slow down a bit. Some even give up the ghost altogether. Whether a newer model moves in is up to the owner, but you can bet the older one still comes up in conversation from time to time. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up.
That was pretty interesting though. I never thought about what happens to that, some of that stuff when it, it's no longer to be of use or things happen with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do they, no, a lot of that stuff, some of that stuff, I ain't gonna say a lot of it, some of that stuff just remains in the water, bro. Whether it's an eyesore up in Hackensack, New Jersey, or it's just, you know what I mean? It's just abandoned. I never thought about it like that. That was crazy, bro. Dope video. I'm telling you, man, YouTube University, bro. You learn a lot on here, man. Shout outs to the TMG family member that sent me the message saying that, bro. They was like, yo, watching these videos, man, I be learning a lot, bro. Same for me. I'm telling y'all. That's why I do it. I like it. You know what I'm saying? So, and y'all rock with it too. So we good. All right. So, man, make sure y'all leave your boy a like. Stick around and stay tuned, man, until the next reaction. I'm out. Peace. Y'all stay solid. Hey.